Well, I'm not sure what this is or isn't picking up. I'm trying to watch it on my iPad at the same time as I film it on my phone, so that possibly if there's any comments or questions or anything like that, I can see it. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm not quite even sure what I'm looking at. It seems very delayed on my iPad. If anyone has got any suggestions, that would be great. I really don't know how I can do the live and see any comments or anything like that. I'm at a loss how to do it, because obviously when my phone's up filming, I can't see the screen. But anyway, I'm going to do this anyway. You might be able to see it, you might not be able to see it, but I'm going to do this now, and then yeah, I can do it now, and then hopefully I can watch it back saved, and then I can answer anything that way. So this was one of the demos that I did on Hochanda on Monday. Didn't get to finish it because I was just in a world of my own. I think I am now, so I'm not even sure why I'm doing this, but everything started off as MDF, was painted. So this is the alarm clock, this is the moments word. They've been painted just with white gesso. I didn't do it very neatly. I just wanted a sort of rough look so that it can sort of look, you can do it more than that. Obviously I've done it very quick for Hochanda, just to make it sort of look shabby chic. And then I made this little mask because I'd stenciled a background before I put it all together. I made this sort of little mask bit to cover it, so that when I flicked it, it didn't go over the face. So I'll show you now. If I take the mask out, you can see the sort of stenciled and painted area. This was one of the papers that was in the set. And of course it's got no black paint on it because I covered it. So the main thing I wanted to show was making some texture paste. And I make this in a couple of different ways. So obviously you can buy pre-bought texture paste, and there are lots of different YouTube tutorials on how to make different texture paste. But there's a couple. One I use like polyfiller, you know, like the polyfiller powder that you'd use for your walls. I use that, I mix it up quite thick, and I add some PVA glue to it. If you don't add the PVA glue, you can find that when you're using it as texture paste, although it's got a nice rough texture, it will crumble and it will sort of brush off your projects easy. If you add some PVA glue into the mix, it gives that it sort of gives it that little bit of elasticity so that it can sort of fare a little bit better. So this is one of the other ways that I do it. So this is gesso. It's probably a bit too much there, corn flour. But this is gesso and corn flour. So I am just putting it on the mat and I am mashing it all in together. And it's the corn flour is the corn flour that you would find in your kitchen cupboards or in the supermarket aisle, nice and cheap. Obviously, if you haven't got any gesso, you could do this with your white acrylic, and as you can see, this really sort of thickens it up. If you don't do it quite this thick, you can do it so that you could still paint it on with a brush, but so that it leaves streak lines for a different sort of texture. I think I've got a hard bit of paint there. Ugh. Get rid of that. But as you can see, this is nice and thick, and the nice thing I like about this is it tends to dry quite quick as well, so that I can get on to the next stage. So I've already added some little bits on here. I've done that on Hochanda just to show it, but just pat it on where you want, and you can see how thick that sort of goes on. If you want it thicker than this, add more corn flour. If you don't want it as thick as this, you know, add a bit more paint. And then just add in texture where you think you want texture. And you know, it's not just that you can add the texture, but it's nice and thick that you can see I can like create ridges and that in it, which is great. Ridges and patterns in it. I have mixed way too much there. Complete waste of gesso and corn flour, so don't do what I have done, or have a couple of things pre-made that you want to add texture to, and then you've got lots to sort of use it on. That's it. Oh, I won't wipe it back on my gesso. Look. I've got a plastic cup here, and I think what I'll do is I'll scrape it into there. Maybe I'll use it in a minute for something else. I say that, but I'm not. I'm going to turn the lasers back on and carry on cutting. So, for those of you that tuned in for Hochanda on Monday, I hope you enjoyed the shows and like the new products. And I wonder how many of you are going to create it at the end of the week. So we will be there. It'll be myself. Karen will be demoing on the stand, so you can sort of see some different things being done on the MDF, and you know, creating different textures. And you know, she's there. You can ask her some questions, or if you want to see how something's done or what you can use to do something, you can. There'll also be myself, so you can come and sort of ask me any questions you might have to ask. There'll be my eldest daughter. She sort of helps out on the till. Don't ask her any crafting questions, she won't have a clue. Although she's trying, she is learning more. And there'll be the wonderful Denise, who some of you have already met at the shows and have seen on our screens when she's on Hochanda. Denise, again, will be doing the making tapes at 10. And I know there's quite a few people already looking forward to seeing what she sort of comes up with this time. So yeah, it should be a really good show. So if you're there, come and say hello. I think it's on Saturday and Sunday. Not, you know, not tomorrow and Sunday, but the coming Saturday and Sunday. So all I'm doing now is giving it a blast and giving it a dry. It's a real shame I can't actually see anything on my screen, and anything I can see is so delayed. So with corn flour and paint, if you hold the heat gun over it a lot, it actually starts to bubble a little bit, and you could potentially create sort of bubbles then, which make it look more lumpy and more, you know, like a bigger bit of texture. I'm just trying to get that dry. Let me just see if I can. No, I can't see anything on the screen. So it's still a little bit wet. Okay, so let me plug my glue gun in. So I will show how I made the rest of this as well. I had some silver. These are out of a Tim Holtz pack of butterflies that my husband got me for Christmas, I think it was. So they were very silver, and because I wanted them to go with the outside of the clock, which I use gold on, I used the same gold wax on this, just to sort of dull the silver down and make it more gold. Obviously we've got the word, so this is pretty dry, but I just want to let it finish off drying before I start putting anything on that. So I'm just going on the edges of the word now with my gilding wax. I don't know if anyone else has got this Finnabar wax. Oh my, it smells, it smells like traditional, the old traditional household polish, but it is just such a lovely smell. I could sit here and smell it all day, but I don't think that'd be very good for me. So we've got that. I've got a photo. This one I'll have to go in a slight different angle. And I have got, oh, I didn't put any texture paste, like I didn't get rid of that. So using a bit of the texture paste. I have got one of these Big Ben faces that were in one of the kits. I have got that. and I have painted it with gesso. And now I'm just adding some texture to this as well. Give that a blast. So bear with me, but sorry if this video is a bit rubbish. It's my second Facebook Live, I think, and I still haven't got the setup that well, but it's getting there. It's better than last time. It's not shaky like it was last time. So I guess if each time's an improvement, then it will slowly get better and better, and yeah, hopefully one day we'll get there. So with this photo, I'm going to use a pencil and just draw so that I can fit that to the edge. So what I've done is I've drawn it so that I can round the edges so that it sort of fits, it fits more in like that. Because if you've got a square photo, it doesn't quite fit in. And then on the back of this, actually before I do on the back of that, so I am going to use a bit of gesso, and I'm going to sort of dab it off, move out of the way everything, dab it off. I'm just going to dry brush, kind of like dry brush in from the edge, so that it just softens the photo and softens the colours in the photo, and adds to that shabby sort of chic sort of look that we're going for. That's it. So a bit of paint on the photo. So if anyone's got any tips for me on the Facebook Live and the best way to do it when you're filming on one device and need to watch it on another device, please let me know. Any help and advice appreciated. Julie's been really helpful and wonderful. Julie Wilson, design team member. She's sort of been really helpful with trying to help, but so I think she's going to sort of try something tomorrow to see if she can help me figure things out. But yeah, any help that anyone's got, that would be great. So I've cut this. This is just like a moulding. I think it's out of a Prima mould. I sort of moulded a whole load of them up a little while ago, and then sort of keep them in a pot as such. So putting these on, I don't want it to sink. Then I'm going to take the back off. Actually, I'm going to move them out of the way. Dropped it. And then I'm going to put another level on each one, just so it's a little bit higher than what it was going to be. Which makes it a little bit easier then for sliding stuff under. Okay, that's that. Right, so then with these bits, so on the, against the white, this silver goes quite dark. Silver, and it would help if I actually use the wax and not the lid. That's a bit clever, isn't it? And if you want to get in the gaps, because obviously I don't want that stark white against it, I sort of want it to look quite old and aged. If you want to get in the gaps, use a little brush. This is a sort of stenciling brush. Excuse the wiry hair. I have extremely curly hair. And people don't often sort of, I normally have gel on it and that to help sort of tame it, and I don't today, because when I'm at work there's absolutely no point, it's just me here, and I think the postmen and the delivery drivers don't really care and they're used to it now anyway. So I've highlighted them with the gold. I think I'm going to put a bit more gold on this butterfly. That's it. Really take the silver sort of down. And now I'm going to go around the edges. So whilst I'm trying to sort of highlight any texture that I've put on, I am also sort of trying to highlight the edges of the clock, so it gives it sort of some definition. So that'll be the inside edge, and the outside edge. So it just helps give it a bit of definition and bring your eye back in, and just helps really age it all. Because when you've got the sort of white colour with the black against it, it can look a little bit stark, but this sort of just helps bring it all back down a level. I mean, possibly you could do with letting it dry a little bit more than I have. And I would if you had a bit more time, as much as you want that shabby sort of chic look on the edge. I'm saying a lot, I'm very sorry about that. As much as you want that shabby chic look on the edge, I would probably do it a little bit whiter than that, a little bit neater than that, but like I say, this was done on air when I was fast running out of time. So that's that. So we started to highlight, and like I say, make sure you highlight the edges inside and out, and on the edge of your ringers. That's it. And a little bit just to catch the stenciled area. Again, that was all done live on the show, so you can always watch that on replay for the first bits of this. Okay, so now let's get to sticking some bits together. So I'm going to stick my Big Ben clock in. If you're not sure actually if it'll, I perhaps shouldn't have done that with normal glue first. So, and then I'm going to stick this one in again with the hot glue. Now if I'm spending a bit more time doing this, what I would probably do is use like a heavy body gel or a medium body gel, even probably a light body gel for these bits would sort of hold it in. You have to excuse all the tape over everything. This is because of going on Hochanda, obviously. Stuff they don't sell I have to cover up, which at the start of it, a year ago when I started doing that, used to make me want to cry, because I'm very much, I like my labels on my stuff, but I've got used to it now. So but yeah, so I'd probably use some sort of gel medium to hold these pieces in, because it doesn't become that sort of bit brittle like hot glue can. But that's, and this is one of Finnabar's waxes, metallic wax as well. So okay, so the picture, let's have a look where we're going to put the picture. So probably about, so if we're going to go there, it's going to go over that, so I'd probably need to take that one off. Perhaps should have worked this out first, shouldn't I? So if I pop that there, it's got my photo in. Could have done that a bit better, couldn't I? But Mr. Butterfly will hide that, don't they say? Butterflies hide an abundance of mistakes. So, and get some moss. And I love the moss. In fact, again, you know, I'd use a gel for this, but for time I'm going to use hot glue gun. But moss just adds a real sort of pop of colour to sort of stuff, which is lovely. Really sort of, you know, these are quite, other than the photo, these are quite sort of dull colours. They've been sort of dulled right down, and then you get this sort of lovely green moss, which sort of really makes it sort of pop. And again, everywhere I'm putting hot glue, you could potentially put a heavy body gel or a light body gel, or, you know, just a gel medium of some sort. Right, what I'm trying to do is cover up the edges of the photo, or most of the edges of the photo, so you don't sort of have that stark sort of edge, or more importantly the gap around it. Nice thing with moss is if you're not quite happy with how it's gone on, pull a bit out. I don't even know if you can hear me, or when I watch this back whether people are going to be able to hear me, but I'm sure I will learn from it, whatever happens. And we put some hot glue on Mr. Butterfly, and he will cover up that funny corner. So let's just wait for him to grip a little bit, and so put the moment's word there, put a little bit of PVA glue, or in this case Cosmic Shimmer again. Do that, and then I think to balance it, it needs a bit of moss up the top there. And as much as you can think the sort of stenciling in the background and that, you know, what's the point of it if you cover it all up? You can still see bits through there, and it just adds to the layers. I think maybe if I can get a little bit of moss in there. Oh. Okay, and a little tip: if you've got all these spidery bits from your heat, from your hot glue, put your heat gun on it quickly, and it will get rid of all of those little spidery bits of hot glue. And that is that one done. So, and that is using gesso and kitchen corn flour to make a white texture paste. And obviously if you mix the corn flour with black, you'd get a black texture paste, and so on and so forth. So you can get the colour texture paste that you want. That's it. Thank you. I'm going to go and have a look now and see how this has or hasn't worked out.